Growing up in Nebraska, I mean, I grew up in the western part of the state. We really didn't have trees there, so I think you kind of learn to kind of appreciate sometimes the things that you don't have, and that was true for me with trees. There's two parts of the planting process I really enjoy. The first part is picking what trees go on where. Take a look at what's growing on that block, trying to think about the diversity. What could we put in there that's not putting too many of one species? It's also important to think about the infrastructure around those sites. So we want to look for things like fire hydrants or street lights and make sure that we're staying at least 10 feet away from those. We also try to space our trees about 35 feet apart, and so that way they've got plenty of room to grow. They're not going to be crowding each other. When we think about trying to manage an urban forest, it's really important that we get the right tree in the right place. So an urban forest is a collection of trees growing along streets and parkways and public spaces. Trees in an urban forest have a lot of challenges. One of the biggest is the soils that they're growing in. That narrow strip of grass between the street and sidewalk, and there's a lot going on there. You've got infrastructure running below ground. You sometimes have infrastructure above ground that's competing with those trees for space. Sometimes those soils can be quite disturbed because of all the activity that's taken place. In a regular forest, trees don't have to deal with these issues, so they'll flourish. There's not heavy equipment that's driving across the soil. When the leaves fall, nobody comes and rakes those away. Those just stay there, decompose, and turn into really good organic matter for those trees to grow in. There's between 18 and 19,000 village-owned trees in Oak Park. The most common tree in Oak Park are maple trees. Probably about 20% of our tree population is maples. Another real common group of trees would be the oaks and elms. Those both represent about 10% of our tree population. And that's not necessarily a good thing. You want to have a diversity of species. Chinkapin oak is one species that we're planting a little bit more of. It does really well in our Illinois soils, so we tend to have higher soil pHs. That would be one of my favorites. I also really like the London plane tree. I think the bark's interesting to look at. They perform really well here in Oak Park, but also in a lot of urban settings around the country. Good to know.